learn.
Uh-huh.
So I thought I wanted to learn about Tibet Buddhism or something. That's why I'm here. Yes, not focusing on meditation, but also I want to learn something different than I had before. Yes.
Nice.
I'm Sean.
Hi, Sean.
I really like the energy in this room.
Oh, that's good.
I identified with what you said about presence and mindfulness. When my teachers told me to examine the quality of my thoughts, for the first 100 times that they said that, I didn't have any idea what that meant. And so I think at some point I understood that I was very disconnected with the present moment, and that in a desire to ground, I have tiptoed into meditation. So this is one of the first times I've done it.
Great.
And I'm happy to be here. And I like what you said too about wanting what someone else has, that feeling the energy. I really like that. So thanks.
So you're, what sort of teachers that were you?
That
telling you
Brahma
100
was
times.
A yoga teacher in France.
Oh, yoga teacher. Oh, great.
Yeah, and it was funny when she said examine the quality of your thoughts, and it meant nothing.
Yeah, I could see how that would be
and then
a tough statement to grasp.
And then one day I did examine what thought I had just had, and now I am slightly closer to getting to a point where I can see a thought in the moment.
Oh, nice.
It's still a train that sweeps me away on it. Like I'm not on the platform just yet watching it go by. It's still very much.
Great.
There's no separation.
Yeah,
No
well,
distance.
everyone in this room knows all about those kinds of things. Being swept away by the train.
Yeah.
And
right
trying
on.
to stay on the platform.
I think I'm on the train. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Cheers.
I'm Sam.
Hi, Sam.
Hi. And I guess I originally became interested in meditation from my interest in the Eastern religions,
Oh, yeah.
Buddhism specifically, but more recently because I feel distracted. I think like having an interest in being more conscious of my behavior and my reactions to life.
Yeah.
I've become more interested in learning about this. I said earlier that I spend some time in silence, quite often, just sitting, but it's not guided.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to this.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Nice.
As my phone rings.
Was that?
As my phone
As your phone rings.
I'm Mishi, and about 14 years ago or so, I was seriously depressed, like suicidal, and I decided to give it another shot. And a book fell out at me at the library. It was Paramahansa Yogananda, his autobiography, and I started meditating pretty seriously at that point. Did a little retreat, and that was it for me.
Nice. How about you, Wesley? Oh, I said his name already.
I'm Wesley. Well, I think the first time I started meditating even vaguely seriously was here at Three Jewels.
Yeah.
And, an eminent teacher just came to give a workshop, Doug.
Yeah.
I suppose I was, over the course of the previous 5 years, drawn to it probably for 3 or 4 reasons. One is to be able to avoid distraction.
Yeah.
Which, oddly enough, I seem to not have on certain topics. And I used to be able to focus a lot better when I was younger. I'm thinking largely of school and academic tasks or scientific problems or writing computer code. I'd just be completely completely lost in it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that is an object of my choosing, because I would choose to sit down and do it. I wouldn't wander off. So that's kind of a little sideline I'm not really sure about. But the other thing I was drawn to was, the notion of, what's there when there are no thoughts.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Nice. Thank you.
Young me, I don't remember when was my first time to do meditation, but I guess my elder brother told me to do, I guess, a long time ago. Because although we're from a Catholic background, he was very interested in kind of spiritual things since teenager. And me and my younger brothers were, he's a kind of guinea pig. Whenever he learns something, he just want us to do that. And
Yeah.
then I realized that the meditation helps my digestion problem
Oh.
in practical way. So since I think I was 19 when I did the first time, but I didn't really do constantly, but on and off whenever I have problem. That's
Nice. Thank you.
Christine. I started I think to deal with my mental afflictions, to deal with my pride, better than, less than. And I was thinking the first time I meditated was doing martial arts. Of course, when you're like, you have that like brief little moment of sitting before you practice was really fun. But then where it was really was when we were doing a lot of like healing work, and it was like running your energy, but it was like watching your mental afflictions and watching your pride and your emotions and what you're doing with your energy. And that would have been when I first started.
What do you mean by running your energy?
Well, you do it. You teach us that.
Yeah. But I don't think I've never said running your energy, so.
Okay. Oh, so when you're like looking at the winds, from the downward winds and from the upward winds, and from the yoga perspective, I don't know if they're teaching that with the yoga, but having that grounding right down to the earth so that you can stay grounded, so that you can keep at that time it was like keeping your energy in your own space, and really having this barrier between us and me and them, so then they would be there and I would be here, and have like this rose that all of my negative energy would like go down and their energy would go down, instead of getting into
So you mean like when you say running energy, you mean like being aware of the flow of your energy?
flow of my energy, thoughts,
The dynamic.
and your thoughts on what's coming up, and the visual images that are coming up,
Cool.
and then learning that there's not that boundary between
Yeah.
us and them, me and them.
Right. Not the way we
Us.
think. Yeah. Yeah, it can be very, I don't know, you can create more division within yourself if you're, putting up boundaries between people to protect yourself. That was, I did a meditation practice like that for a while, where it was like part of the practice was to protect yourself from other energy. And it's kind of a wild concept in a way, and I know that it appeals to some people, and it's helpful. I think it can be helpful to a point, especially if a person their energy's all over the place, But I found, like Christine was saying, I found that was eventually made me feel like it was like some energetic war, some energetic battle, Oh, you're in my space, got into my space, right? But anyways. So thank you everyone for saying that. It's it sounds like everyone is very interested in being present. That's nice. Yeah. I don't know if there's anything greater than pulling that off, than, because that's the wonderful thing about meditation, is that it peels away layers, right? It peels away, if you do your practice, it can peel away the stuff that, like you were talking about, right? The train's going by and then you're on the train. And then even if you're in the middle of some conversation with somebody, you're on the train. Or they're talking to you and you're already, you're on the train where you're already figured out what they're going to say. And you've already have the answer, and then you're like interjecting all the time, making your comment, and instead of actually listening. And that's part of learning to meditate, and part of being a good meditator is actually learning to be a good listener in a big way, because you're listening to yourself, and you're learning to be present for yourself, to listen to yourself, which can be a very radical concept, because sometimes we just don't listen to ourselves. Like your teachers, what is the quality of your thought? And for a lot of people, it's just a stream, right? A stream that doesn't slow down, and we don't give it too much thought, because we're just trying to get through the day or something, trying to get through whatever it's going to take to make this day work out, or this relationship work out, or this conversation work out. For some part of us that's confused about how it should work out. Right? And then that's the beauty, is you get to see that. When your mind slows down, you get to see all those things that we engage in or gets brought up simply in any simple interaction with anyone, including yourself. And then so that you can understand what's kind of between you and someone else, or between you and your ability to be totally present with yourself and for somebody else, and give of yourself purely and perfectly, like your love, your because that's your presence, really, like your full presence is love. Like if you sit across from somebody, and your meditative skill has built to the point where you're not already making a commentary in your head about what they're saying, and you're simply present with them, and you have worked on your own mind enough to know that anything that's coming and going in your mind is coming and going in your mind, not in their mind. And that anything that is coming and going in your mind and splashing up to the surface, if you can, like you said, gain that power of watching it come and go, then we gain the ability to not splash it onto that person. And then they then become the portrayal of the train. And you're on the train with them, because you put them on the train too. So if you can stop all that, then you can quite simply and purely be in love with that person across from you, whether you've met them before or not, because you're offering yourself to them. And it doesn't, in a way that does not require any sort of romance. It doesn't require a phone number. It doesn't require, it's not a negotiation. It doesn't require profit. It doesn't require that they see you in a certain way. It doesn't matter even if they notice. It's just you're in love. Because you settled your mind to what is more like your natural state, which is the state of bliss and love. And so you sit across from this person and you just love them. And it doesn't have to mean anything other than that. And then all the other stuff that we try to do in life, just, it can't amount to that. There's no amount of money that can buy that. So then you can do the reversal, where if you work hard enough at that, no matter how, successful you are, quote unquote, like in your life, or unsuccessful you are in your life, whatever opinion you may have about what success is or isn't. And then you just can bring that love to whatever you're doing. Like what Wesley, you were saying, like you just chose and your focus was there. And since then, you've grown and you've made choices. And now it seems like you're using, like you've got some kind of tie-in to remembering that kind of focus, and you're sort of maybe coming around and applying a more conscious awareness of that kind of ability. Who knows? Right? That's what when you said that, I thought, now it's like maybe a higher, more conscious state of doing that, regardless of whether it's actually something that you're interested in or not. You just would have that kind of focus. And then life's a breeze then. At that point, life is a breeze. It's and it's all the stuff that isn't that makes life complicated. It's not the hydro bill. It's not the rent. It's not being fully there with yourself. It's being swept away in the train that makes life complicated. So, if you're inspired to meditate, then you can unlock that, and you can open the door, and you can walk, and you can just have that, no matter what you're doing. So, I think that we should do a meditation. Having said all those great things about meditating. So what we'll do is we'll do a meditation, a stillness meditation. So this will be nice because we'll do a stillness meditation to start with, and then later on in the class before we end, we'll do one where we try to stay on the platform and watch the train. Let's see if we can pull that off, and possibly doing some investigation. Because we want to have a base of quiescence, stillness, shamatha. We want to have a base, a foundation of quiet mind, which we can then bring to the equation, which we can bring to our formula later on. So this meditation, you can do sitting up, you can do in a chair, or you can do lying down in shavasana. That's another myth, that you don't need to be sitting upright in full lotus to do a meditation. You can actually be. We were just on a retreat actually, and some people were meditating standing up, looking at the wall. So that's an option too, which of course you would only do probably if you were falling asleep or getting really dull. It's like drastic measures, or maybe not. Maybe use something that you like. So, whatever meditation pose you would like to choose, let's get into meditation pose. And for the people that haven't meditated much, I'll say some words about this posture. And one of the practices that we've been doing here a lot is they're called it's called a Gattaka, which is basically a 24-minute meditation. And so we'll do a 24-minute meditation, because sometimes when we want to go for long periods of time, maybe you want to meditate for 3 hours or 1 hour or an hour and a half or something like that. It's very beneficial to do like a 24-minute meditation. Take a 6-minute break. Maybe you stand up, wash your face, do whatever you might need to do, and sit right back down. Do 24 more minutes, which has the benefit of giving you the ability to remain, build your stability, but also not get carried away in some kind of dullness festival where you're getting sleepy and you're not, you're kind of like wasting your time by doing this meditation, and the next thing you know, an hour's gone by and you haven't really done anything. So it's nice to break it up, and then you can reassess the situation, sit back down, and then do 24 more minutes. That's a long story. There's many, many benefits, but for tonight, we'll start this meditation. So I'll just set the timer too.
Can you stop the recording on my iPhone?
On the phone?
Yeah. And
Yep.
then make it move?
Yes, I can. Oh, I see. You have to press done. Okay, got it. So I'll begin the meditation with the sound of the bowl. So let your mind jump onto that sound and listen to it, and try and follow it. Try and notice the last moment of it. Now we check out our posture. We want to feel the body from the waist down, like it's heavy, relaxed. Especially if you're sitting in a cross-legged position, some kind of cross-legged position. If you're sitting in a chair, then it's helpful to think of your feet being planted or settling heavily into the earth, and then your sit bones being heavily connected, surrendering into the surface. And if you're lying down, you just feel this weight of your body touching the earth. And relax into that. And with that downward feeling energy, you may also notice a rebound energy that helps you sit straighter And you can help that along with an inhale. So you take a nice deep inhale, which will draw your crown towards the sky. And as you're exhaling, try and keep that lift of the crown towards the sky as your shoulders relax. And it feels like your heart is lifted and open. And there are many mudras you can do with your hands. You can have your hands palms up on your thighs or palms down on your thighs, or you can have your thumbs and index finger touching. But the most important thing is to have your hands in a position where you don't need to think about your hands. You can forget about them. So you can take a few moments here just to check and see if you're sitting in the most effortless way possible that provides you with as straight a spine as possible. Because it's good to have a straight spine. It's helpful when you're meditating to stay help you stay alert. So you can sway from side to side a little bit and then rock back and forth just slightly, and see if you can find the magic spot where it really feels like you're in just the right position, where your body is aligned so that you're sitting with the least amount of effort. This may take a while to get used to if you're new to meditating. But in the beginning, we try to find that place. Jaw is relaxed, eyebrows relaxed. It can be helpful to place the tip of your tongue right where the back of your top teeth meet your gums. You sort of rest your tongue there. It should feel natural, and this will help keep your jaw relaxed, and it will also help control the buildup of saliva. You'll find that sometimes you'll be in the middle of meditation and you'll have this constant swallowing going on, but this will help that, stop that. But you'll also notice if you get deep enough into meditation that that's not a problem. It just stops. So now let's begin to retreat more inward. And begin to feel and notice the feeling of the lower belly breathing. So here, you're taking your mind and you're pointing it in the direction of your belly. And you're not controlling your breath. You're allowing your body to be very relaxed and breathe naturally. So what we're attempting to do here is use this physical activity, this physical action, to help bring the mind fully into the present moment. And it can be a great way to do that because your body and your breath, they are in the present moment. They got nowhere to go or someone that they're thinking about. They're just here. So if you place your mind there, it can be helpful to keep your mind present. And to take that one step further, begin to focus on the tactile sensations only. So the physical sensations, how does it feel for the breath to be moving your belly? And what we're doing here is tossing out the mental image of your body breathing. Because you'll notice that along with your breath, along with focusing on the feeling of your breath, there's probably, maybe, depending on if you've done this before or not, a string of scenarios that are saying, okay, this is my body, this is what my body looks like, this is what my body looks like breathing, and there's pictures in your head. Try to discard those pictures, those mental images, on your exhale. And then return to the object on your inhale, which is simply the physical feeling of the breath, of the tummy, I should say, moving with the breath. Notice any mental images, any conceptual overlay that wants to spring up and label the situation. Notice that tendency and let it go on the exhale. And start fresh on the inhale. The beauty of the present moment is that you don't know what's going to come next. And you're throwing away this historic overlay, this historic label. So you may or may not notice that the conceptual overlay, the picture you see in your mind, makes it slightly less fresh, stale, not as alive, because you have succumbed to your need to label things. Just feel. Just feel. Feel only. If you get lost in conceptual images, just release your attachment to that image and relax. Come back to just paying attention to the feeling. And rejoice, be happy that you've come back. Now let's move the mind further up the body to a more subtle object. You can begin to draw the mind up and then begin to focus at the opening of your nostrils. The tips of your nostrils and the surrounding area, like your upper lip, and begin to refine your focus so that now you're trying to feel the physical sensation of the breath passing here. So you're doing the same thing now. You're continuously discarding the mental parade, the mental images that keep wanting to come up and throw themselves onto the process. They want to get in on the action. And all your job is to simply let go of the breath, let it be as it is, and feel it at the tip of the nostrils. Don't worry if your breath is choppy or short. Don't worry if your breath is long and smooth and even. Don't pay any mind to the quality of the breath. Just notice how it feels. Pay attention to any sensation. Coolness of the breath. Letting go of the mental overlay. Pictures. So let's make this meditation more all-encompassing in a sense of you can now back your attention away from the nostrils, and you may feel like you're moving your attention more into the center of your body, as if you're going to rest your mind's seat, your mind's point of focus more in the center of your body. And then begin to feel your whole body breathing. And here you'll probably notice the pictures will really begin to fly up and present themselves to you. This is what my body looks like. This is what my body in this room looks like. This is how people see me. Continue to let go of those kinds of pictures. And return on the inhale. It can become very engaging, thrilling even, to just simply be sitting and aware of all the physical sensations of the body in the present moment, breathing. And you can allow your mind to move around, noticing how it feels in the hands. And then when you get the sense of a feeling there, throw out the concept hands and just feel. Or the legs or the back of the hips. Notice sensation there, and then throw out the concept back of the hips and just feel. Notice, feel. As soon as anything comes in, thoughts of the future, thoughts of the past, conceptual overlay, pictures about what's going on, what this looks like, happily and quietly release those movements of mind on the exhale and return on the inhale. Follow the sound back to the room. Quietly returning. begin to wiggle your toes and fingers and gently opening your eyes. So you want to return to the room slowly. You don't want to like jump out of bed, run off to work. So just enjoy the returning. Did you want to stop? Were you done when it was time? Did you want to keep going? Anybody? No preference?
I had a little bit less.
What's that?
Was it 24 minutes?
Yeah. What did it seem like to you, shorter or longer? Really short?
It's pretty long to me.
Pretty long, you see? Right? It's different for everybody. What's that?
I was just slipping into a dream, just as you rang the bell.
Slipping into a dream.
Mhm.
And so before you were going into the dream, were you
Conceptual images,
maintaining?
conceptual images, conceptual images.
Yeah, yeah. Can be like that. Anybody else want to say anything about what they experienced in that meditation?
Just follow your work.
Yeah,
This was
yeah. That's the difficulty in having in a led meditation is that you don't really get the benefit of doing it yourself. Like it's more like I'm meditating for you in a way. And so that's why it's good to get the concept of the meditation and then try it at home, so that you can do the exploration on your own. Did you? Does anybody want to say anything about anything that may have happened with trying to stay with the feeling and trying to discard the, because it's constant. It can be really
In and
sti-
out.
Yeah.
In and out. In and out.
Was that surprising?
Yes.
It's pretty amazing,
I
isn't
didn't
it?
realize how constant the images were.
Yeah. It's mind blowing, isn't it? Does anyone else have that same experience? I know some of you are experienced meditators, so maybe you wouldn't have that experience. But
It seems to take vigilance.
it does. Yeah.
How quickly I'll find discomfort in my own body, or how quickly focusing on the breath in my nostrils was the most effective I've yet experienced in terms of my ability to stay present to what was happening with
The nostrils
sensation
worked
in
for
my
you.
It worked for me,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, it's a popular spot.
My
Yeah.
my tummy, the breath in and out, I had a very difficult time staying present to that.
Yeah.
My mind went to all other areas of my body,
Except there.
pretty much.
Wow. Wow. That probably means something. It'd be cool to find out, Be cool, like it's really cool, like to notice that, right? And then what I would do in those kinds of situations, I'd be like, listen, I go, well, why do I refuse to like stay there, and then continue to try, and then one day you may feel something, you'll be like, oh, and you'll have like a memory or something will show itself to you, and you'll be like, oh. And then maybe something will fly away, Something, maybe you'll release something or a burden that you didn't even know you were like holding, right? I'm not saying that will happen or that you do have a burden. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that it can be fun to see why it's hard to stay there. Like an example of it may just be that you have lived your life more up in this area. And I'm saying that for myself, like when I first began to meditate, we did a lot of meditations where your focus was in the center of your head. So you were staying there a lot for years. And then when I began to do meditations where I was trying to move my focus down and in the heart area and lower, it was very hard. And it wasn't like I had a problem with my heart or a problem. It was just I was so used to being in this area, it really felt like it would boing. It was like boing, and it felt like that. And it was like, wow, I can't go down. It was wild. So I'm not saying that you have a problem.
I don't feel projected. I actually relate to everything you said.
Okay, cool.
Being like congruent is very new.
Yeah.
Is a very new experience. Being cut off here has been, and I didn't even know I was.
Yeah.
Just like I didn't even know that I was on the train.
Yeah.
It just was normal. It was my normal, my level of awareness.
Yeah.
Was simply always up here.
Yeah.
And on the train.
Yeah.
So.
Great to notice that, isn't it?
Yeah. The first thing that popped into my mind when you said maybe there was a bird in there was, was like maybe I don't want to focus on my stomach because I hate my stomach.
You hate your stomach. Poor stomach. Oh,
I know, right?
Beautiful stomach.
Right? Maybe that's what's going on.
Yeah, we have all kinds of things, right, with our bodies, right? Our precious bodies. We want them to look a certain way or be a certain way. Yeah. I've had all kinds of those.
For some reason, I don't associate a visual image with sound, but I do with tactile sensations.
With sound?
Yeah.
Interesting. That's interesting.
So when you ring the gong, the bowl, I don't see the bowl.
You don't see bowl.
I just hear.
You just hear. Wow.
But tactile sensations, at least, well, I guess it has to be on me. I wouldn't feel it, and so immediately an image of that location pops in. And I would even venture to say I'm not really sure what a raw tactile sensation. I mean, I can almost get it for a split second, and then I'm not even sure that's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that that's probably a pretty big club that you're in there. Many people would probably say the same. When they begin to start to just try and feel the physical sensations, it can be very profound and difficult when it's like, because the mental overlay just won't stop. And then so because the mental overlay won't stop, it's hard to know, because it's hard to really get what it would be like to simply feel, right? And that's one of the reasons why we do that, or especially one of the reasons why we don't attempt to control the breath, is so that it stays fresh. If we start, okay, I'm going to breathe smooth, and all of a sudden you're doing something like more robotic, right? And you're doing something that's a process of, and right away you can't actually be in the present moment if you're thinking, okay, I'll be breathing smooth and fine from here on in. And then you always have this little leader ahead of you that's saying, okay, yeah, we're breathing smooth and fine. Okay, next breath will be smooth and fine. So you're always slightly ahead of yourself, right? So if we don't control the breath and feel, it can be quite a very good way to begin to pull yourself into the present moment. Like, it may even be turn into an amazing bliss festival. Just to sit down and constantly return to the object, constantly return to just what does it feel like, and as the mental aspect of it, the mental images and thoughts begin to slow down and pull away, something happens. There's something that happens. You begin to experience your body in a very, very different way as you just experience the miracle that it is to have a consciousness that is like residing in this, I guess, central location that happens to be this amazing thing that moves around and does all these amazing things. And you can feel that and be very, very happy and present. And that be enough. And so that type of meditation is very, very good to do daily. If, especially, you're noticing the mental overlay wants to come in, and you just, maybe for 10 minutes a day, or 24 minutes a day or something, you find a time, and you just sit down and you just do that. And over time, you'll notice that your mind will stop needing to do that. And you'll be able to be more present with what's happening in the moment. Because what you're doing is you're building your foundation of quietness, of stillness. This is the, being able to be with that is the beginning of building that platform that you were talking about, where you can actually watch the train going by, and then hopefully, you'll see the train disappear, and then be like a long gap in the track there. Maybe you can like get in there before the next train comes, right? Then it starts to get really exciting. Anybody else want to say anything about that experience?
Well, I was just wondering, I had a little bit of a hard time with the beginning part and the nostril. I did a bit better than this morning when I tried, but when the last part, I was going at the level of my heart, right?
Yeah.
But what happened is that I felt like all my solidity was gone, like there was no boundary. This is where my arm ends.
Yeah.
But is that a goal of this like?
That is
or
one of the things.
that not okay?
No, that's good. That's good. That is one of the things that happens. And I don't want to say goal, I don't want to. It would probably be not helpful to say that there's a goal of this meditation other than stilling your mind, right? Stilling your mind and being able to be very quiet and present in the present moment. But that experience that you're talking about is one of the things that happens. And it's because the reason why that is good and it happens is you're beginning to blow apart the rigid concepts that we have about what our world is, what our body is, what our reality is. And if suddenly you're thinking, wait a minute, like, what arm? Right? Because you're feeling something, but you're throwing away the concepts and it's like, well, what arm? Where does my arm start and where does it end? What foot? What shoulder? Right? What mariska? What body? When it just starts to be feelings, and then we can then recognize that you say like the constant overlay. We can then see the great mistake that we make on a constant level is actually believing the conceptual overlay, making the mistake of believing the conceptual overlay. Conceptual overlay is what is real, versus, and real is a tricky word, but versus feeling that, well, wait a minute, it's not necessarily true, these things that I'm seeing over and over and over again. So yeah, that's good. Anybody else?
And what happens when you take the conceptual overlay off of the thought even? And then what is that? You're labeling the thought or the something.
Right. Right. That's a good question. Because here we're stuck in language, right? Here we are stuck in words. Because I'm saying to you, oh, feel only, throw away the mental concept. You know, and right away, I mean, if you want to like debate it, you have to say that feeling is mental. It's not like you can't, there's something that's happening. Like Wesley was saying, what do you mean just feel? What does that mean exactly? So there's something going on. There's something detecting something. Right? There's something detecting something. I can say I'm having this feeling, but you're thinking about it. You're recognizing I'm having this feeling. So there's a process going on. So Christine's saying, well, what if we take the conceptual overlay off of like the thought? And you could say that would be one of the big goals. Because if you start just by trying to be present with the feelings, eventually you're going to notice that you're having these conceptual overlays. And then you're starting to throw those away. And then you're like, well, what is going on? What are these feelings? This is new. My body's electric all of a sudden. I'm feeling like body electric. And then, okay, well, where exactly is like the boundary of what I am? Maybe it's bigger than I ever thought it was. It's still a process of thinking. Still a process of kind of words labeling. There is some part of you. All of this is arising out of some part of you that cannot be described. So if you continue to practice as best you can, pulling away the concept even of the thought, well, you're going to end up somewhere really magical. Eventually, over time, you will have to land somewhere that you will never be able to tell anybody what that was, because there will be no words that can describe it. And basically what Christine is pointing at is like the substrate consciousness, or the primordial mind, pristine clear awareness. It's just like that. Like, because what's going to be left? Are you going to like cease to exist when you strip away all the constant stream of concept that is happening? This is this is that, this is that, she is this, I am this, this, that, and then it slows down, stops. What's left? It's been called many things. Poets talk about it. Singers sing about it. Dancers dance about it. It's been called luminosity, bliss, non-conceptual bliss, non-conceptual, right? So how is it that you could actually even have an experience if the experience is non-conceptual? How could you not have an object? This is what Christine is saying, right? What if you take the concepts off of your, well, can you exist? Can you experience yourself existing without an object to look at. Because generally speaking, the thing that we are, that we experience, is actually in relation to everything that we're looking at. That's the we that we know. That's like the me that I know is more what we're looking at than. But you can turn that around. Just, and if you just sat here for the first time today and went, wow, like my mind just won't stop. I can't, that's like the beginning. That's a very great beginning of then turning it right around and going in this way and going in this way and finding, okay, yeah, yes, I can be completely alive, vital, and loving, and it not depend on an object. I can experience luminosity, non-conceptual bliss. That may take a few years, though. Right? If you don't want to experience that, then just continue as normal. Right? Don't meditate.
Does the object always have to be external, or can the objects? Yes, I suppose that's my question.
Well, is there such a thing as an external object?
No. Okay.
Everything
it's just
that
my perception.
Yeah, everything that you're experiencing is experienced through your sense perception, right? So how could you experience an outside object? It just seems like you're experiencing an outside object. And that's the mystery. That's the great mystery. That's the door you have to go through. The door you have to open is to understand that, wow, I'm constantly labeling. I'm constantly conceptualizing every single thing. My body, my friends, everything. That's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. Because it's not like it's going to stop. It's more like coming to terms with that, having the experience, the direct experience of that, noticing that. Because if you spend enough time, like say you start 24 minutes a day, and then, a month from there, you're at 48 minutes a day, or something like that, 3 months down the road, maybe you're, at whatever the next one would be. Add another 24 to that. You can think of that like you're logging more time, like away from the parade of concepts that we don't usually notice, and getting anchored into this inner mind, getting anchored into this place within yourself that's always there. Then you really get the taste for it and you're hooked in, and then you go on a retreat or something like that, right? Where you go on a retreat and you're like, okay, well, we're meditating like 8 hours today. And then you can start to be walking in the world, and it's okay that your concepts are coming in constantly. You don't have a problem with them. You're just, the parade is on parade, and okay, no big deal. I like some things, I don't like some other things, no big deal. But you understand that the qualities that you used to think were inherent in the object were never in the object. They were always springing from your mind. And when you figure that one out, that's magic. Right? And that takes some time. Because, it's like as you've noticed, right? You're sitting there and the string of... And you notice that. So that's what's happening all the time, all day long, as we walk through a day. We just don't notice because we didn't sit down and check it out. So let's do one more meditation. This one will be shorter. And this time we'll see if we can just get a little bit more subtle. Maybe we'll go into watching thoughts for a minute. See what happens there. So let's stand up and shake out the body. Started it going again after that.
No.
Oh, Christine has it.
I just need the meditation.
Yeah,
table,
okay.
so-
I really like the sound of that.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
It's very enjoyable. And then the traffic light went on, and I went, no, bowl.
Right. I want the bowl.
Did you hear the police siren sort of sweep up into the sound of the bowl? That's like
No, but your musical ear would.
Yeah, that's the thing about the beauty of that is you can be in that state and then you have a very different experience of like an ambulance or, and then notice because what if you're in meditation and then you hear sounds or like what you may have thought of as a siren, but then you throw away siren. Like, oh yeah, I'm just assuming that's a siren. And then notice that there's a picture in your head about the exact thing it looks like, but you can't see it. So then it's the same thing. You're pulling away that, and then what's the experience of that sound, right?
In that moment, it was just another texture,
Yeah, nice,
and it just
beautiful.
became a new sound.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Okay, so we're gonna kind of be brave, do a little adventure into the mind, and that's going to require a phrase. You're going to use a phrase. So we're going to start low in the body, come up to the nose, and then go to the nose, and we're going to leap off into the mind. So in order to get into the object of mind, you're going to need like a sentence, a phrase that you have that you're going to use as your leaping point from the nostrils, and I'll cue you. Like for instance, the one I always use is the limitless horizon. That's the sentence I always use. The limitless horizon. You can use that if you like, or just come up with your own funny little whatever, serious funny sentence. So have that ready, and I'll let you know when it's time. Begin again. This time we won't go through the whole posture. It wasn't that long ago that we were meditating, so just reconnect into that feeling of like you're about to do a meditation. And begin paying attention to the physical feeling of the belly, expanding, contracting, moving to the rhythm of your breath, however that may be for you now. Using that physical sensation to pull your mind into the constant now. The constant now. So you're using this, focusing on the physical feelings only, as an antidote to wanting to fly off into thoughts, processes, past, future, and noticing what happens if you give your bare attention, your focus. To the physical sensation of the belly. Throwing out mental images. And now, having the mind travel upwards, beginning to focus at the area of the nostrils, settling into this area and applying your focus to this area of sensation. Feeling, sensation of the breath. Relaxing. Before we venture off into the domain of the mind, good time to check in and see if you feel any tension mounting anywhere. And let that go on the exhale. It can be helpful to, if you do feel tension or resistance building, to send some warm light, some golden light to that area on the inhale. And just surrender it or let it go. With the exhale, take it away. And return to the object of meditation right now, which is physical sensation of the breath passing the nostrils. Noticing the mental overlay, concepts, discarding them, turning to the feeling alone. Now we're getting ready to move into the domain of the mind. So the phrase that you've chosen, when I snap my fingers and you go into that phrase, you're not going to just say it like you would speak it. You're going to think that thought in your mind, or say that thought in your mind, but very slowly, so that your mind notices it and doesn't just take a quick glance at it and go somewhere else. It'd be, for instance, the limitless horizon would be like you get the idea, so that you have something to follow. So what you'll do is you'll say this phrase in your mind, and once the phrase goes by, just try and see if you can stay witness to what's going to follow. Whatever mental object or mental parade arises after that, and see if you can remain a witness to it as it arises, stays for a minute, for some time, and goes. Probably followed by another one. And the idea is not to get involved or start thinking about what comes, but sit back in your seat and watch it. And you may feel the pull of desire, or you may feel also the pull of resistance, but you're not going to engage. You're just going to let it be there for as long as it wants to be there. But you're not going to give it yourself in a sense of your attention and engage with it. You're just going to be a witness and look at it and let it be and watch what happens. So in this type of meditation, losing the object would be jumping onto the parade and letting it sweep you away. And then you forget that you were even watching it, like you enter a dream or something like that, and you forget you were dreaming. That would be losing the object. And if that happens, and you manage to recall what you're supposed to be doing, just release the thought, release the situation, and return to watching. you can actually return to that original statement, phrase, start again. Or if it's too much and it's just too difficult right now, just return to the nostrils and watch the breath at the nostrils. And then maybe try again after settling your mind on the nostrils. Think like you're watching a parade. You're not in the parade, you're watching the parade go by. Some of you in this room have done this meditation before, and if you're one of those people and you happen to be able to be still enough, or maybe this will be your experience now, even if you're just beginning this first time, if you happen to be still enough in your center point enough that you can witness a thought come, stay, and go, and there's a gap between what comes next, take the gap as your object. And just look at the gap. Any tension that mounts, release it on the exhale. Doesn't matter if it's a constant parade. Doesn't matter if it's disjointed. You're only just watching what is there, what is coming and what is going. You're not making opinions, you're not making judgment calls. Simply watching. Don't allow any thoughts of thinking you're doing it right or wrong to enter. That thought itself would simply be another parade float. And then if you began to think, oh, I'm not doing this right, that would be an example of losing your object. And then you relax, release your hold on that, and return. Either starting again with the phrase, or returning to the nostrils, beginning again. Following the sound back to the room. Making your way back to your sitting, if you're laying down, taking your time. So that may have been a bit of a leap for some. It may have been quite a quick jump into something like that. It's or maybe not. Could be quite natural. Any thoughts, questions, comments on that? Fun? Yeah. Cool. Did you manage to be on the platform a little longer this time?
After you said, if you find yourself in a dream, you've lost the object.
Yeah.
I went, oh, right.
Yeah.
Because I was swimming at the bottom of the ocean with sharks. And,
Oh. Cool.
So then I did, yes, manage to notice some thoughts go by.
Nice.
It's hard, that was a leap for me.
Yeah, I think that it's also would be. Usually, you would hang around like in the breath for a while before starting to try. I thought you might like to taste that. Anybody else want to say anything? Question?
While I was trying to discard the images which come into my mind, I saw some light, colored light, so yellowish, bluish, very bright light. I just saw it.
Oh.
I don't know why.
So in that meditation, do you mean while you were trying to watch your thoughts? This is what was happening?
Yes, no, while I was trying to discard
Oh,
my image.
Right. Yeah.
I saw some light.
Oh, that's cool.
Not saw, I don't know, just.
You had experience of that
Yes,
in
I
some way.
had.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you like it?
Yes, I like it.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Colored light.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah. That's nice. You don't have to know.
Okay.
No, you don't have to. Like, that's the wonderful thing about doing those things. Like Mariska was saying, well, is it, all of a sudden, like I got no arm, or all of a sudden I don't have a boundary. Well, things begin to happen that aren't normal. So who knows what you may have seen or experienced. It's too long of a topic. It could be a lot of things. But I think that the most important thing is that you were relaxed about it and you enjoyed it, and that it happened during the process of your meditation, that you were trying to drop a mental concept, and then what was left over was something. It would be interesting, right, to be doing something like that, and then focus on the colors or something, just to that's a beautiful thing about doing a meditation is like you can, like, if you have a regular practice, like a daily practice, you can build up this this ease about it and this relaxation about it, where you can have fun, and you can decide, well, I'm just gonna like go for, I'm gonna I'm gonna explore these colors, and I'm gonna hang around here and see what, because it's your day and it's your time, and you can do whatever you want. That's what's nice. One of the nice things about that is because you're choosing to do that.
I had a question pop into my mind
Yeah.
when I was doing this. It's so, I mean, we say, you know, you fall into a dream and you get swept away. And the question, conceptual question that popped into my mind was, I mean, I know we feel it, but how if your voice wasn't around when I was doing this, I would probably still feel it. It's a label. How would I know that I'm in a dream, like, that I've been swept away, versus not been swept away? And I guess I know, but my question is, how would you describe it to somebody?
Well, being
Like
if there's nobody guiding the meditation, for instance, and you haven't got an anchor point to keep it in your back, how would you know that you were like swept away in a dream? If you're swept away in a dream, you wouldn't know.
No, but then when you come back,
That's when you know.
yes. But it's just another mental state. How do you know you're not swept away in another dream?
Right. Well, maybe you are. You know, because there are many things. There are many dream-like qualities to our everyday life. If you really break it down, and like, what's the difference between like a dream and reality? Maybe this is one big dream. If if a person is not aware that every experience that they have is a constant stream of conceptual overlay that they're mistaking for the object itself, how is that not a dream? So when you become enlightened, you wake up. But there's a difference between the kind of a dream that a quote-unquote normal person is having that I just mentioned, where the life is dreamlike in a sense of it's not the reality of things is not really as it seems, because we're mistaking a mental concept for an actual object that we don't realize we're actually labeling it. There's a difference between that type of dream and like a sleep dream, you'd say, or a sleepy unconscious dream. Because in a sleepy unconscious dream, you can be swimming at the bottom of the ocean with sharks. But in the kind of dream of being unaware of projecting a reality, you can't. and you can get hit by a truck, and right, you can get things like really things happen that directly impact your like waking state. So when you finally become lucid and you finally like wake up, then you do recognize that I've been living like a dream, in a sense of I've never had a correct thought. I've never had a correct like awareness of the objects that I'm seeing. But the dream continues. But you just happen to know that you're dreaming. In a sense of, you know that you're constantly, that from the substrate consciousness of your mind is a constant arising and falling of mental appearances that becomes the reality that you live, that is the reality that you live. So it's a tricky question, isn't it? Because the mind, there's a part of our psyche that wants to know, that wants like something. Could you just tell me something? Can you give me like something that I can stand on that's real? Right? When things are constantly changing, when appearances are constantly changing, things are impermanent. Anything that's like brought about by causes is impermanent. So really, there is no real ultimate thing that the psyche is going to find and use as a blanket and say, okay, I'm okay. But if you can discover the nature of your mind and how the mind is projecting these things and how the mind is having experience, you can then be comfortable there and have a much different experience, like a woken up experience. Right? Are you convinced? Right? Yeah. It's a good question. It's a matter of lucidity and like knowing that, of like
Well,
having.
I guess I'm saying is that lucidity seems to be a non-conceptual thing itself, because I can't come up with a statement that says, okay, I'll know that I'm lucid if.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, when you're in a dream, in a daydream,
Yeah.
or you're in a dream, like even when you're dreaming, when you're asleep,
Yeah.
you think you're lucid.
Yeah. Yeah.
You think that's real.
Uh-huh. Yeah. True. And then something happens and the reality
then you
shifts.
know.
Then you know, right? So, one day, you'll have a moment, and then you'll know. Because there's levels of it, right? There's levels of it. So, right? Like, sure, just raw lucidity, like non-conceptuality, non-conceptual. How are you going to say, right? Okay, I am lucid. But the elusive target that we're trying to land on is, who's asking that question? Who's asking, am I lucid? Hard to find that. Slippery.
Does that allude to the core self underneath all of that? Like some level of being or intelligence or whatever, I don't know the word for it, but that's just not my arms or conceptions or
Yeah.
sight or hear or anything. It is not any of that.
Yeah. That is the unnameable.
And it's just there in like that stillness, or I mean I don't know where. Is there GPS for that?
Is there GPS? Is there GPS for that? Oh, maybe you should start working on that. You'd be like the next Bill Gates. GPS. GPS for the substrate consciousness. Yeah, like that's a good question. Like, what happens when you strip everything else away? What's left? And it's a matter of subtraction. The whole, it's a matter of subtraction. As you pull so far inward that you no longer relate to those things that you just described, and yet you're still there. There's still some kind of a you that's there, but not a you that you're going to relate to normally, like in your normal dream waking state. And it's worth a lifetime of meditation to find it. It's worth every minute, it's worth every hour, it's worth every year that you can decide that you will spend and try and find this thing. It's worth everything. It's the answer that you're all looking for. It's worth it. It's getting on. It's like almost 9:30 now.
Can I say something about that last exercise?
Yeah. If anybody needs to go right now, we're half an hour almost past class. I'm totally happy to talk all night. So whatever anyone's into, it's fine. But yeah.
So in that short meditation,
yeah,
I
sure.
had 4 very vivid experiences witnessing thoughts. And this is sort of in line with what you were saying. How do you know if you're dreaming?
Right.
I've never remembered a dream.
Ever in your life?
I don't, well, the next day I will never, there's 1 or 2 that stand out in my life, but I don't remember dreams. But I remember those 4 very vividly just now in those 20 minutes. And after the first one, there was a moment where the thought had clearly ended. And there was a part of me that wanted to prolong the thought.
Yeah.
And input my own, just to continue the story.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I did that for a few minutes, and then I realized that I wasn't watching anymore. I was writing. And so I stopped that, and I said the phrase again, and I watched. And this time I let it end when it ended. And then I said the phrase again, and the next one I let it end when it ended. And I just thought, when you were talking about in our awake state, how everything is a projection. That maybe that's the difference between dreaming and having this conscious passive awareness
Mm-hmm.
of your thoughts. That to me, like, made it very clear, the difference between dreaming
Mm-hmm.
and this other state. I don't know what that was. I've never, like, focused on that before.
So this is the first time that that's happened.
That I've thought about it that
In
way.
that way.
That I've, like,
And that had
yeah.
that specific experience.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was like, it was an awake dream.
Yeah.
Like,
Sure.
I don't know how to describe it. But that to me shows the relationship between our awake state and our dream state, and how that's different than what we just did.
Right. So when you felt yourself want to, like, begin writing, like you said, right, and you pulled
It's
into
like
the
input,
right,
yeah.
you felt the draw or the pull, right, and then you somehow managed to just pull yourself back.
But no, it wasn't like I was drawn in. It was like, it was an effort.
Right. So you felt the pull, but you weren't drawn in.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it
Very
was like
good.
I had to, like, exert mental energy
Yeah.
to prolong this dream, this thought,
Yeah. Yeah.
instead of letting it pass.
Right.
And then letting the next one come and letting it pass. There's much.
It's a very profound experience that you just had, I think. Sounds like to me.
They were, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, because you got to directly see the mental energy that it takes to construct your world when it's not needed. Right? Imagine how refreshed, imagine how much more refreshed a person would be if they didn't feel the need to be rewriting in a constant stream, right? Oh no, this is what this means. This is what this means. This is what this means. I wish this was different. I wish this was better. I like this. I like it so much. I'm going to increase it. Right? I don't like this. Right? Like that takes mental energy. And so if you can actually manage to stop that, then you begin to feel the power of the focus of your, like, I don't know, unfettered mind, right? That's unfettered. That's been released from this. Okay, I need to rewrite this. I need to invest my mental energy in this so that it changes, so that it appears differently. When you can't really control it. It's just it's an idea that we think that, so this is beautiful. Like you've noticed, like what eventually, we identify the version of ourself that felt the need at all to prolong or rewrite, right? That is a specific self. That is an arising of a certain self that wants something, right?
Self-seeking?
Well, it's not content. True contentment is, you don't need it to be different, right? Right. So self-seeking would probably be a little bit different. Like self-seeking, depending on what you mean by self-seeking. That could, like when I hear you say self-seeking, I'm thinking, trying to find yourself. But that might not be what you mean by self-seeking.
In the context of what Sam was talking about, it meant
Do you mean a self-seeking?
I meant ego.
Ego. Right.
Like egoism.
Right.
I want something to be a certain way. I don't want it to be a certain way.
There you go. So
Think this way
egoism.
about me, don't think that way about me.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So it's a good thing we clear that up. 'Cause self-seeking to me doesn't really mean egotism. So yeah, it's right. Yeah, egotism. Some part of ourselves that not quite content and that is willing to spend mental energy on trying to make something fit an idea that this aspect of our mind has because I want to be this, and it's great. I mean, it's great. So you'd feel, so you felt like a self, right, come and want something, and then you managed to like, beautiful, nice story. Yeah. Quick study.
It didn't feel right, especially in this context.
Right. We better wrap it up. Unless you want to keep going. Well, thank you everybody for coming. That was really fun.
Thank you.
I just want to say one thing. If you're interested in a steady meditation practice, you may want to try the first meditation that we did, just to build your stability every day, to try and to build that stability. But you may be already ready, like you may have some readiness already to actually be able to sit and watch but so the idea is to develop the ability to know when you can do that and when you just need to go down to like the belly or the nose, and you'll know by the amount of tension that you have, mental tension or physical tension. So if you're getting like freaked out or like then just, it's really, really important that you're not thinking too hard about it, and it's really, really important that it's that you're relaxed. So if you notice that anything like that, then just return to the nose or to the body and just begin to watch physical sensations and just try that. Anyway, I wanted to say that. Thank you everybody.
And then maybe where they can access the meditations on the website.
Right.
Well, the website, I couldn't access it today.
You couldn't?
Okay, I'll tell you what we can do. If we can't get it on the website, if you leave your email address, one way or the other, we can email you the meditations that we did today. It's cool. With 3 Joules is starting to like have a lot of access to.
The website was wrong. Okay. I see around 2-3 o'clock.
You saw
Okay.
it? Yeah, so I was trying to get on just before this class. Edits and stuff, I couldn't get on. Maybe if we look on see if it's maybe with my computer, but it would work with them.
Okay, so if you'd like to, if you listen to the meditations, if you'd like to do that, you can go to 3joules.com, www.3joules.com, and go to which, what they gotta go to?
Two combined.
Go to
The
classes.
classes,
Weekly classes.
weekly classes, and then
Weekly.
to combine. And then Mishi will put these meditations up on the site. If that doesn't work out for you, why don't I give you my email address, and then you can email me and let me know. If that doesn't work out and you like the meditations, then I'll make sure you get them. That's probably better.
Is Wednesday the day of the week that you meet for meditation?
Yeah. Every Wednesday, unless otherwise specified on the website, or like 7:30 every Wednesday.
Is that a finite